to Let's Rap. Let's rise above personal perception. But today we're going to rap a little bit differently. Today we're going to really address people's problems. I think it is very important for us to talk about something today, Miss Nye. And the topic of today's segment is, who died and made you Almighty Judge?
My goodness.
It's time to get into some stuff because we got a problem going on in the world today in general. And this came up because last night I was led to watch a particular something. I got a notification in my feed. Willow Smith, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith's daughter. And she, had a new hairstyle. And, anybody who knows Little Miss Willow knows that she's very expressive with her hair. And so, she looks so cute. I think she's such a beautiful child.
Indeed, she is.
And, so I went onto her page and was just looking at her pictures and everything. And I'm like, she has her own unique sense of style. And I was thinking in the moment, I said, I really applaud Jada and Will for allowing her to be free to express who she is. Understanding that we all are individual souls who have come here for specific purposes. And one of the things that I think is very important as parents is that we learn to identify, understand, and nurture the giftings and the process within our children.
Indeed.
So what does that mean? That means not trying to get them to conform to who you are, who you believe they should be, what you believe they should be, but understanding the individual souls that have come through you for a specific purpose and nurturing what is in them in order for them to propel into their purpose in this life's journey. So as I'm looking at her pictures and I'm thinking that she's so cute and I'm just admiring all these different
adorable
things. I mean, she has done so many different things with her hair. And one of the things that I appreciate with her, she don't care. This is her expression. She's doing what she wants to do. She loves it. That's all that matters. My children will say to me sometimes that they show me something and I'll be like, well, I don't know if I would do it. And they're like, well, I like it. And I'm like, well, that's really all that matters because you're the one who's doing it. And as I'm reading these comments that people are posting, I am becoming so irritated, aggravated, and agitated.
Are posting on her
Facebook underneath her pictures, tearing this child down, saying all kind of manner of evil against her. And the thing that was so bothersome to me is that these are adults who are on here as well and talking about how she should dress as a child and she's not a grown-up and all of this stuff. And I mean, inside I'm just like, woosah la sa, woosah la sa. So I go on to Jada's page after that. And I'm feeling like I'm really being led and directed to these different things. And as I'm reading Jada's post, she's very profound. And the things that she puts out there are very profound. And one of the things I appreciate about her is she doesn't box any of her sayings in. I don't care who you are, what you believe, where you are in your particular life, you can relate to what she's talking about if you allow yourself to.
Right.
So she had posted something with regards to, your higher power and stepping into your higher power. And here we go now, all the religious fanatics, all the Bible-thumping, God-spewing people, and the things that they were saying. And, I just started to get so bothered. I was like, I need to come off of this. But I started praying right away, and I said, God, what is this all about for me? Because this is really bothering me. And this topic came up in that moment. And I think it's so important to address it because, there's a particular passage of scripture, there's a couple. But there's one in Matthew 7 that says, judge not lest ye be judged also. And we are to remember with the same measure that we meet, it will be measured back unto us. But it goes further down to say, and I like to translate this into my own words, because being from the Bahamas, we talk about a 2x4, which is a piece of wood. But the scripture says, remove the plank out of your eye before you try fooling with the speck of dust in somebody else's eye. So if there's a 2x4 plank in your eye. You don't even have the capacity to see the speck of dust in somebody else's eye. And we so often are so concerned with what other people are doing instead of being concerned with ourselves. And like we always talk about in this program, we cannot, you cannot, I cannot change anyone else. And so we're going to spin off of last segment, how can we experience change without changing? But my question is, why do you feel a need to judge everybody? Why do you, first of all, feel like it's your place? One. Two, what a 13-year-old child, what she's doing with her hair, or even what she wears, how is that really affecting your day-to-day living? To the point where you have to be negative, but yet you talk about God in one side of your mouth, and you pull down and you judge, and you ridicule, and you have all manner of evil to say against people from the other side of your mouth. But you say that you're representing Christ. I want us to talk about that. So we said this is not a religious program, but we're about to get into some stuff today because I think it's really, really important. And if we want to progress within our own lives, we gotta deal with our own dirt. You know, we're so focused and concerned about what other people are doing. And you trying to clean up somebody else's dirt in their house, and your house is filthy and nasty. And you have mold and mildew and cobwebs and spiders and cockroaches crawling all over. But you're more concerned with the dirt in somebody else's house.
And not only that, not even just that on a symbolic level of their actual house, but you have more going on in your house, in your personal house, in your personal being, than you do about the things that you're talking about other people about, and you haven't checked your own stuff. And
that's what I'm talking about. I'm using an outward analogy, but I'm talking about the cockroaches, and the spiders and the cobwebs and the dead stuff within you and within your spirit. Because there's a particular scripture that says, it's by your fruits you shall be known.
Exactly.
So I don't care what you say with your mouth.
Exactly. It's not what you say, it's what you do. Exactly. What are you producing?
Exactly. Because this is what people see. And you know, I had mentioned this several weeks ago, and I posted it on the Let's R.A.P.P page. This video of children and adults, the children side by side of the adults, and what the adult was doing, the child was doing the exact same thing at the same moment. Mm-hmm. And so your children are watching what you're doing, and children do what you do before they do what you say.
Absolutely.
So what kind of example are we setting for our children? What cycles are we continuing on? But I don't understand why we, and I'm saying we, because I was this person years ago, but in the church, very judgmental, and there's so much judgment there. And when I was in the church, I was doing the same thing. So I'm saying we. I don't understand why we feel a need to be so up in people's stuff.
I think that's a profound point that you make as far as, you know, identifying that you were in this place of judgment, but then also understanding where that judgment was seated in you. And not that the church specifically is a bad place, okay, that or any place is specifically a bad place, but that the energy in which a particular setting of people, environment of people entertain can be, and this is what we're talking about, you know, you pretty much named the majority of the scriptures that I was going to speak on, but it's okay because we're so in sync that that's just how it flows. It doesn't matter where it comes from. But the point is, it's like, you know, you bring up the point about the plank being in the eye, or the speck being in the eye, or the different translation says the mote in the brethren's eye, you know, but you have not considered that which is in your own. Right. You know, my grandfather used to say, how can you tell someone to clean up their backyard when yours was just as dirty? So you just use, all of these metaphors are repeating themselves, and the message, we've been getting the same message, honestly, for a while now, and it just keeps coming to us in different ways, and it's just so amazing to me that whatever we are being asked to speak on, we are always in the moment of living that or experiencing that on a very personal level, so that can become very real and very manifest.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're speaking from our head, or, oh, I need to read this, or I need to review or expound on this aspect of my life, but really being in a moment of walking that. And so make it a point of where you noticed or identified where you tended to express or develop this particular energy. I think we all need to pause. You know, like we said in a couple of our other topics, you know, even when we're having a heated conversation, pause, just breathe through that for a moment and say to yourself, ask yourself, what am I going to do with this now? Because you said in another segment, if you're going to continue to do the same things, you're going to continue to get the same results.
Right.
And we know that the definition of insanity, or at least one of the ways that we've come colloquially to express the definition of insanity, is to do the same things over and over, expecting a different results. That is retarded.
Yeah.
You know, that it is literally retarded. So if we want to do something different, we have to choose to act differently.
Right.
And I make a point of saying act, because actions speak louder than words. You know, they just do.
Yeah.
And you can talk a good game, but if you are not producing the fruit of that labor to manifest or to reveal what is truly in the heart, then what are we doing?
And when we talk about, you know, you hear this all over. 2014 is the year of, you know, manifestation. What was specifically given to me is this is the year that dreams are going to be realized.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't check what we're putting into the ground. What is the potential in this seed that you're putting in the ground? Is this going to help, or is this going to hinder? And it's not the person, because whatever you sow, you're going to reap. Mm-hmm. So whatever you're putting out there is going to come back to you. What goes around comes back around again. So how are you hindering your own process, your own growth, your own blessings? Or how are you helping them? You know, there was another post on Jada's page.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, I'm thinking about this now, and I'm just so agitated. I'm just really trying to keep my voice down. But she was asking, you know, she was supporting this charity. She was saying, you know, this charity does all of this stuff. And, you know, she's encouraging people to vote for them in order to get a grant.
Mm-hmm.
So all she's asking for people to do is to vote for them. Go and vote. The comments are coming back, well, you and Will have millions of dollars. Why don't y'all give them the $50,000? And I'm reading this, I'm like,